This is the student document of an imaginary student, but based off of real circumstances, Sophia Sanchez. So here I have written down when Sophia's lessons are, so I know that they are consistent from Thursdays, 7 p.m. to 7:45 p.m. So she takes 45-minute lessons, and they are weekly lessons in violin because I also teach cello, viola, and music theory lessons, so I like to clarify that. Here I have her name, but the document is also titled by her name. So that's pretty simple. I have her age. I know that she's 16 years old. She is a high school sophomore. She lives in New York, so that helps clarify that she's 1 hour ahead of me. Sometimes we have discussions in my lessons at the beginning about the weather and how it's affecting their instrument. And when scheduling, it's good to know I will have to clarify with her that she's 1 hour ahead and I'm in Central Time. A little background information that I got from her for my lesson contract. She started violin when she was 10, so that means she's been playing for 6 years. I know that she has been in her school orchestra. She has experience playing mariachi Mexican music, and she was a transfer student to me from another teacher, and she really struggles with key signatures, so we're going to be doing some homework assignments on key signatures. Now I know that. I also keep this little piece of information that she gave me throughout lessons that she might not be having lessons first week in June for a family vacation to Hawaii. I also like to keep this information down from the lesson contract. I do post teaching videos on social media. Some are videos of students, some are just audios of me, some of the students' audio might be involved. So I like to clarify, would you like to be tagged with your name? Do you want voice, video, or nothing at all if I do these videos? And she has clarified that she does not want her name, voice, or video used in social media, so I do not have her consent for that. I always keep goals for my students, which is the whole point of this video. You're going to see how I analyze this goal that I originally scheduled. Here, I write down the dates that we have lessons, so this doesn't get confused or mixed up in any way for the students. So we had our first lesson right here. It shows that Sophia did pay for her lesson, so we are set. That's also payment receipts are kept as well. And here I always start lessons with open strings, so we see how her technique is coming along, that we want to start doing the rocking the bow exercise next time, what needs work, what's going well. There were some issues with the original sound meeting on Zoom, so I sent an instructional video that I made on how to set up original sound so she can correct it, but if you look down to our next lesson, that gets resolved. We also start working on the G major 3-octave scale. I add some corrections to make sure she's doing her open strings going up. Her third position is looking great, but fifth needs some work. And we continue a piece that she'd already been working on in the Suzuki Book 4, Perpetual Motion, and here's some things that we were working on. I also take a little note for myself that we're going to need to do some vibrato exercises, but in the future, because we already have a lot going on right now and she's a new student, so we want to keep it pretty chill. The next time that we meet, I clarify that yes, she did pay for the lessons. Everything's kind of continuing based on everything else we did. A couple reminders, some new stuff that we're starting. Here we added the arpeggio for the 3-octave G major scale. We're continuing the piece that she'd been working on, Perpetual, and I do put a clarification in here that she needs to send her homework that I'm giving her about key signatures a little bit earlier so I have time to grade it. She can't send it right before the next lesson and expect me to have it graded. So I explained that to her kindly, and it's been clarified. The next time that we're going to meet, I love to keep track of this because I think it's very important for both when I do it and the student does it, when lessons are canceled or asked to be rescheduled. So Sophia asked to reschedule her lesson for having the flu, and I said, yes, that's totally fine. And you can see we met 2 days after then when she was feeling better and she paid for the lesson, and we are all on good terms with that. Again, we continue working on everything else from before. You can see we're making good improvement. Sophia's doing great. So she's started rocking the bow now. We're working on exaggerating rocking the bow with the knuckles, just exaggerating the movements. So we're getting some strength in that right hand for the bow hand. The scale, the G 3-octave scale is coming along great. We're doing 2 4 notes per bow and still working on the arpeggio. For Perpetual, we're already practicing doing run-throughs and some more detailed work tuning chords. So you can tell we're getting close to wrapping that up so we can start a new piece. So I like to meet the student where they're at, but we're going to ultimately start something new so we can really get into the nitty-gritty there. And then the last lesson that she had, I also clarify for myself, I was late because my laptop was restarting. Gotta love technology. So I clarified that was a little mistake off my behalf. Lesson's been paid for, and we skipped open strings just for sake of time. We got a lot of other stuff going on, and here we're continuing to make lots of progress with her 3-octave scale, working on the positions, notes per bow, and moving on to a new piece the next time and getting some preparation work in there. So with all of this information here, I'm going to write underneath the full goal that this is going to be the new spring goal, and I am kind of unsure why it's written in blue. So I'm just following the way things were written before. Keep the goals highlighted so I always see them when I go into her file. And let's take a look at everything we just said on how she's doing. Okay, so here was her goal from before. Again, she did kind of start at a end part of the fall semester, but we wanted her to exit the Suzuki books, which, hey, perfect, she did that well. That's great. So we are finally out Suzuki books, to have a solid 5th position that is coming along really well, and have relaxed and curved bow hand, curved meaning the pinky finger. So that could still use some work. So I'm gonna add that from last time. We're gonna wanna keep working on her bow hand. We always keep working on our bow hands. And now that we're starting the boy Paganini, I would like for us to probably reach her first Bach work by the end of this semester, since we're in the boy Paganini and she's kind of leaving the Suzuki books now. And I think with how wonderfully she's doing in her scales, we could at least add the D and A 3-octave scales as well. And since this is our new goal for the spring semester, I'm going to unhighlight this old goal and now just leave her new goal highlighted. So this is how her file currently looks, and I went through everything and everything is clear and makes sense to me. Again, the students never ever see this. This is solely for my eyes, and if I ever do, or my students ever transferring to another teacher, or I need to transfer them for another reason, I have these notes that I could also send to the other teacher, but I try not to keep any personal, like super personal information in here, even though it's just for my eyes, and just to help keep track of lesson payments, how improvement and progress is coming along, and of course the goals, and just information about the student, making sure I really get to know them as a person as well. So this was Sophia's lesson file.